Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar about maximising your impact as an Inspiring the Future volunteer. We are expecting quite a few volunteers, so we're just going to wait for some people to trickle in. And while we do, we are going to launch some polls just to get a sense of where you are on your volunteering journey and ask you some questions. So the first question that we're going to ask is, have you volunteered with Inspiring the Future before? So you should see that coming up on your screen. So I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds to answer that. For anyone entering now, we're just doing a quick poll to get a sense of where you are on your volunteering journey. For those volunteers that are just coming in, we're just doing a quick poll before we start to get a sense of where everybody is and whether you have volunteered with Inspiring the Future before. There's lots more people trickling in, so we'll just wait a few more seconds. So for those of you that are coming in, we're just asking, have you volunteered with Inspiring the Future before we do our webinar? Shall we launch the results of that one just to see what everybody has said? So, okay, that's interesting. So there's a mix. A lot of you have never volunteered with us before. And then we've got yes and in-school activity. And there's quite a few that have done both as well. Okay, well, I hope whatever stage you are on your volunteering journey that we will be able to provide you with some tips and tricks today that will help you maximise on your impact. And we are going to ask a second question as well. I can still see some more people coming in. And that is, how confident do you feel to volunteer with Inspiring the Future? What we'll do is we'll also ask this at the end of the session, and hopefully there will be a variable in your response after the webinar and the tips that we've given. So this is, how confident do you feel with Inspiring the Future, to volunteer with Inspiring the Future? We'll just do a couple of seconds on this one. Great. And then if you want to launch that poll, Simon. See what the results are. So we have somewhat confident. Okay, there's some that are not at all and not so confident. Some are very and some are extremely, which is fantastic. Okay, let's hope that we can shift that somewhat to very or extremely after this webinar. So I have some introductions that we're going to do. So let me make it start. Can I have the next slide, please, Simon? Okay, so I am Victoria York. I'm the Volunteers and Campaigns Manager at the charity. I'm responsible for ensuring that you have a good experience and that you are engaged and we can impact as many young people as possible. We also have Simon here. So Simon, did you want to give a little introduction?
Hi there, everyone. I'm Simon. I'm the Salesforce manager, so I'm in charge of the platform that you use for the volunteers and for the teachers.
And I'm also delighted to welcome Kit, who is a volunteer. She's been a volunteer with us for a long time, and she's going to be sharing her insights with us later today. Kit, did you want to introduce yourself? Oh, you're on mute.
There you go. Hi, I'm Kit Duram. I work at Bank of America, who are a partner with the Education and Employers Charity. I've been a volunteer with the charity for about 6 years, doing various different things. So hopefully we can give you some support and insight.
Thank you so much. Really excited to have you on helping us here today. Right, I am going to launch into what we're going to talk about today. So we will be talking about the impact our volunteers make, and I'll also be talking about 17 key things that you can do to maximise on your impact. We will also have some volunteer insights from Kit, and I've got some insights from another volunteer, and then we'll also be looking at the teacher perspective on what makes an impactful volunteer. And then at the end, we will have time for questions as well. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about the impact that volunteers make. The charity is 11 years old, and in those 11 years, we have focused not just on programme delivery, but on research, and we produce high quality, robust research that underpins all of the work we do. We know that the more young people who encounter employers whilst in school, and 4 or more encounters is often cited, the more they earn and the lower their chances of becoming not in education, employment or training as young adults. Our research has also found that 90% of the primary school teachers that we surveyed thought that engaging children with employers or employees in the world of work has an impact on their academic achievement. And 80% agreed that engagement with the world of work can change young people's attitudes positively towards school. We've also found that young people who take part in career activities such as job fairs and job shadowing are more positive about schooling and its helpfulness in adulthood. And our research also suggests that it's important that the people providing the information to pupils about jobs and careers can draw on personal, first-hand experience of the same professions. I now want to focus on some more anecdotal evidence and share feedback from young people, which they have given directly after our activities, which volunteers have supported. There's quite a few quotes there. I'm just going to pick out 3. The best part was hearing from different volunteers who have completely different perspectives and lives. The best part was being able to get insight into careers I hadn't previously considered. I learned that you don't need to know exactly what you want to do at a young age. Here is first-hand evidence that the career talks you deliver have an invaluable impact on the young people, and that by sharing your career story, you can introduce new possibilities and ideas. You've changed their attitudes towards learning and the future for the positive. Now that we've got a sense of the impact that you can make, let's have a look at how you can get there. I've split the key tips into stages of the journey. So this is all about the portal and securing an activity. In the theme of inspiration, I've added an inspiring quote to each section. So if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. So the first tip is to make the most of your profile. Your profile is extremely important because that is all that teachers know about when they invite you to an activity. And here is an example of what a teacher sees. Often when people have signed up, you don't necessarily know what teacher is seeing, but now that you know this, it might be worth going back and updating your profile in line with some of the tips that I'm sharing today. There are 4 sections to your profile, and the bit that the teacher sees is mostly built up as the knowledge and experience section. So let me go through the list of do's. Do keep the language simple and jargon-free to be inclusive of your audience. So you may have worked in an industry that uses acronyms that you know and have known for a really long time, but it might just be mindful that other audiences might not know and teacher might not know what that is. Do include information about the sector you're in. Again, if you feel like there's something that you'd like to add, this is a great place to include it. Do add more info when it asks any other info that schools should know. There is a limit of 255 characters, but you can actually add quite a lot of information there. And we suggest that within that you promote any specialist knowledge and skills, as well as talking about hobbies and extra projects that you are passionate about. do be open to lots of volunteering opportunities. So you have another section which is volunteering opportunities, and within that it asks if you would like to do mock interviews, CV workshops, career insights. If you think you're interested in this, do select as many as possible, but equally if you don't feel comfortable doing mock interviews, then don't feel you have to. And do be proud of your achievements. Don't be afraid to put them on your profile. If you have run a marathon, written a book, done a spoken poetry night, anything that makes you kind of a well-rounded person, definitely put it in there. That's what teachers want to see. They want to see kind of who you are and how you can enrich the young people's lives by sharing your experience. So don't be afraid to show off a bit. The second tip would be to support virtual and in-school activities. So when in-school activities resume and it's safe for volunteers to visit schools, we do encourage that volunteers be open to both virtual and in-school activities to make the most of the impact. So the default is that you will support an in-school activity, but you can select that you're happy to volunteer virtually when updating your profile, and Simon will show us that in a live demonstration later. Virtual allows you to impact young people across the UK, so not just in your local area and also from the comfort of your own home. If you're interested in supporting virtual, you can check out our resources about supporting those activities. So we hosted our last webinar on volunteering virtually, which is on our training hub on the portal, and we also have a range of information guides that have been designed specifically for that. The third tip I would suggest is respond to all invites, even if it's to decline. So we understand our volunteers are busy, a lot of you work full time, but it is important for the teacher coordinating the activity so that they know who can and can't come. It's a requirement that we expect of all of our volunteers, and it's really helpful for us to know whether or not you're engaged and still want to volunteer with us, or it's just that you simply couldn't attend that activity you were invited to. It's super easy to respond, and you don't even need to log into the portal, and Simon will show you how to do that shortly as well. The fourth thing I would say is express interest. So this is something we've mentioned a lot before in our previous training, but expressing interest is a great way to be proactive and show schools you're interested in supporting their activities. Again, Simon will show you shortly in his live demonstration. We have noticed lots of you doing this recently, which is absolutely fantastic. Do be mindful that it is a chaotic time for teachers and schools at the moment. So if there is a delay in response, we are giving them a nudge of 7 days after you've expressed interest to contact you, and we thank you for your patience during this time. Fifth thing I would say is to subscribe to our news updates. So during the pandemic, we are sending out a news update to all of our volunteers, all the key information that we need to know about our programme support and training. There is an option to unsubscribe, so if you have done so but don't want to miss out on our key updates, do let us know and we can add you back on that mailing list. And the sixth point I would add is if you'd like to do more, let us know. We can't guarantee anything bespoke, but we do run bespoke activities with teachers, so we're always looking for keen volunteers who are committed. So if you're eager to get involved, do contact us and we will see what we can do. Right, I'm now going to hand you over to Simon for a live demonstration of some of those key things that I've mentioned and how you can do those on the portal.
Lovely, thank you, Victoria. Bear with me 1 second while I just get the right screen up. Let's have a look. Here we go. Right, hello everybody, how are you doing? Today I'm going to go through 4 various stages with you. We're going to go through ensuring that you're marked as a virtual volunteer. We're going to go through expressing interest in events, responding to invites, and then just a little bit about communicating with the teacher. So first of all, as you can see here, this is your portal page when you log in, and we're going to go to our update profile. It's on the top buttons, it's one of the green ones on the top right, and if I click on that, it takes me to my profile with all the information that I've put in about myself as a volunteer. I'm just going to do a couple of pauses because I'm aware there may be a lag on the video and on my words. So now we have the update profile screen. The one that we're looking for at the top is volunteering opportunities. So if we see up here, if we click on volunteering opportunities and we scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a section called virtual volunteering. And on virtual volunteering, it says I'm willing to take part in virtual events, for example, using Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or similar. So on this, you want to select yes, as we have here, and then you want to save the changes. And what this does is it stops you just being seen in your local geography or where you have put your volunteering areas in. It enables you to be seen across the whole of the UK. So it's a fantastic opportunity, really, to be able to tick that and then potentially take part in an event which is hundreds of miles away. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about expressing interest in an event. So I'm going to go back to the home page. And here we're going to click search for opportunities. I'm just going to wait for a little bit for the screen to catch up. There we go. So again, the green buttons, you can see search for opportunities. So I'm going to click on that. And that will take me to the mapping screen. Now, as soon as you log on here, it will do one automatic search for you. But this time we're looking for a virtual event. So on the left-hand side, you can see that there's a little checkbox here for virtual events. So I'm going to tick that and I'm going to tick search. And that will search across, again, the whole of the UK, and it will find all the virtual events that are available. We see at the top, it said 108 search events. So that was 106 about an hour ago. So we've had another couple of events that have been put in literally within the last hour. We find the best way to see this is using the list view rather than the map. And that's because, again, they may not be within your local mapping area. So we're going to click on list. And from here, we can see all the different opportunities that you as a volunteer can express interest to take part in. Now, I'm going to choose one which I set up myself as a demo. So I'm just very quickly going to find that. Here we go. And this demo event here, St Michael's Woolmer Green. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to my shortlist. And by putting it in your shortlist, it keeps a list of those ones you may be further interested in. So you can then express interest in bulk rather than having to do it one at a time. So I'm going to add it to my shortlist. At the top, added selection successfully. And at the top, I'm just going to review my shortlist and express interest. So imagine I've added all the ones I want to. I'm going to click on that. And it's going to take me to this screen. And this is my final checking screen. So again, here, if I've got a list of 10, I may just want to choose 5 so I can remove or untick those and then get ready to express interest in those 5 events. I'm going to click next. And that's it done. So what that does is it sends off an auto email to the teacher saying, me as a volunteer, I'm interested in coming along to this event. They then have the option to accept or decline my expression of interest, and then they will start getting in touch a little bit further to tell me some more information. If they accept or decline, you again will receive an auto email and you'll be able to respond to that saying, could I find out a little bit more information? Now, the next bit I'm going to show you is responding to an invite. Some of you would have got these, some of you will be new and you may not have received them yet. This is when a teacher has been searching for volunteers and they've chosen you. You're one of the chosen people to come along. So you get this automated email saying, Dear Simon, I've got great news for you, and then it tells you the details about the event. So this is the name, the demonstration event, the teacher, where it's at, and the dates it's taking place. We have some further information on for you there. So we've got links here to information about virtual volunteering. And then if I scroll further down, we get to the bit where we can respond to this invite. So let's say with this one, I'm happy to be involved. In this case, all you need to do is click on one of these 3 links. I'm happy, sorry, I can't do this, or I need more information. You don't even have to log into the platform for this. So I'm going to say I'm happy to be involved. If I click on that, it will open up a web page for me, where again, I just choose my option. It's already accepted because that's the one I clicked on, and I write a message. Hi, I would love to take part. Click save. And that's done. So that will send off the auto email to the teacher who will receive the message that I've accepted. And they will then respond, and then we'll start getting into a conversation. So as far as a response, let's imagine you've accepted the invite and the teacher has said, yes, I'd like you to, the teacher has said, I will send you some more information. You will find that within the chat section of your profile. So if you go onto the portal again, you'll see that chat messages are here. We have on the right-hand side, we have your most recent messages, just to make it a little bit easier for you for when you log on to make sure you can see that you've got new messages. If I click on here, we can see that there's message conversations between teachers and volunteers where you simply write your reply and that goes to the teacher. And that is the very quick show of how you can do virtual, express interest, invite and chat with the teachers.
Thank you so much, Simon. I will now carry on sharing some of our top tips on how to maximize your impact. So, preparation. Abraham Lincoln famously said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Preparation is key, and we recommend that you give at least 15 minutes ahead of your activity. And here are some of the tips on how to best prepare. So 7 would be communicate with the teacher. During this time, we suggest you ask to have a phone call and/or a virtual test meeting. We would recommend both. The call is finding out about those initial questions. So what age and year group are the young people in? Where are they on their academic careers? What are the objectives of the session? What would the teacher like to achieve? So really an opportunity to find out everything that you need to know. On the test meeting, this is an opportunity to work through the tech and learn more about the platform and get comfortable with it. You can also share your email if you're comfortable after having the initial chat on the portal, which Simon just showed you. And for in-school activities, we recommend a call discussing the things I just listed, as well as discussing logistics such as parking. The 8th thing that I would say is utilize our resources. So if you go onto the portal, you will see that we have some icon buttons, which include our information guides, our training hub, and our volunteer handbook. These have been designed specifically for you to help you on your volunteer journey, so do make sure you utilize them. If you're looking for something that isn't there, do tell us as we regularly update our resources. The 9th thing I would say is to brush up on safeguarding. So we have a volunteer code of conduct, safeguarding policy and virtual safeguarding rules, which can be found on our website, handbook and virtual resources. You don't need a DBS, but the safeguarding rules will depend on each school, so do ask them to give you information on their policy when you're communicating with them. Make sure you're never alone with young people, and that's applicable both online and in school. And do make sure you follow the safeguarding rules for virtual sessions as well. Do communicate with us and the school if you do see something of concern as well. The 10th thing that we'd recommend in terms of preparation is adapting your content. So adapting your content to your audience is one of the key things that you can do to prepare for your session. And we're breaking this down into 3 main ways that you can do this. So the first one is bring your job to life by talking about tangible things and not abstract concepts. So this is where props are really helpful. If you're talking about a marketing campaign, have the flyer on hand. If you're talking about your company, showing a logo or uniform makes it more real as well. The second thing we would say is give an example of a project that you have worked on. So talk about a specific project in depth as opposed to explaining your entire career history. 20 years might be quite hard to summarize in 5 minutes, so we recommend you briefly explain how you got to your role. And then here are some examples about how you could talk specifically about a project. So an airline pilot, for example, might choose to talk about one route that they fly and share details such as how long it takes and how much fuel is used. Another example could be when a graphic designer chooses to share one project that they've worked on, they might show you a photo of what they've designed and the decisions that they made about choosing certain colors and images. The third part of this, we would say, is use illustrative examples of the problems you tackle and how your role works as a solution to the problem. So for example, an in-house lawyer for Department for Education used an illustrative example to describe her role. She said the government might want to make a policy to only offer apprenticeships to boys named Alex. Then there would be a planning to look at how they would do that. So they would ask, how do we find out who all the boys named Alex are? And then her team would look at whether this follows the laws or rules. For example, is it fair? What about girls named Alex? What about people who are not named Alex? And then they would go back and say, you can't make this policy because it isn't fair and it isn't legal. So some really good concrete examples there of how you might be able to break down your role and adapt it for the audience. Okay, on the day, act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. There are some key things that you can do here. 11, arrive promptly. So this is applicable both virtual and in-school activities. It gives you the time and headspace to prepare before your session, as well as gives you the opportunity to meet other volunteers and speak to the teacher if needed. 12, you can put yourself in their shoes. So we've all been 6, 12, 17 once. Think back to when you were their age and what concerns or considerations you might have had about your future. 13, be open and honest. What makes these interactions so special is that you're giving them real insights about your real experiences. So do be open and honest when talking to them and answering questions that they might have. 14, enjoy it. Our aim and objectives are serious, but the purpose is to have fun and do it in an engaging way. So do make sure you enjoy it. We want the young people to have fun, but we want you to enjoy it as well. Okay, post-activity. Many will start fast, few will finish strong. You may think that you've done now that you've finished the activity, but there are some key things that you can do post-activity to maximize your impact. So you can spread the word. Not only would we love to see what you've been up to on social media, but we get lots more volunteers sign up through word of mouth. So do shout about us to friends, family and colleagues and encourage them to sign up and share their story as well. Do post about us on social media using the hashtag #InspiringTheFuture and tagging us on LinkedIn, Twitter or Facebook. You can also join our forums. So this year we launched our volunteer voice forums, which we're now going to host every term. And they're a great way for volunteers to share their insights and experiences, and it gives you an opportunity to learn from other volunteers as well. Do keep your eyes peeled on any news updates for information on our next forum, which will be in 2021. And my 17th tip of today is don't make it a one-time thing. So we ask you to give at least an hour a year, but if you'd like to give more time, please do. It's a great way to maximise on your impact. And you can also become a school governor. So school governors and trustees play an important role in leading our schools. They set the strategic vision and direction, they approve budgets and hold the senior leadership team to account. Our volunteers tell us that the benefits of being a governor are immense. So these benefits include developing your professional skills, and experience such as strategic planning, chairing, financial planning and teamwork, all of which are valued by employers and can assist your own career development. It's great for building relationships and networks in your local area, as well as supporting children and young people in your community. Anyone over the age of 18 can be a governor, and you do not need to be a parent. And applying to be a governor is really easy. So Inspiring Governance can help you find a school governor role that develops, inspires and challenges you. It is free and easy to use, so if you'd like to find out more, go to inspiringgovernance.org. That's all for my tips. I'd love to introduce Kit now. So she is kindly sharing her insights with us today. Kit has been a volunteer since 2014 and has supported many activities in that time. She is both an Inspiring the Future volunteer and Inspiring Governance volunteer as well. So over to you, Kit.
Hi, yeah, so like Victoria said, I've been a volunteer for quite a while now. I also have 2 kids, so quite used to speaking to different ages and different age groups. I think the key tips that I would say is just, know your audience. I work in regulatory reporting, and no 10-year-old alive is going to want to know in-depth knowledge of about that. So, try and adapt your message that you're giving, give a different view on it. I sometimes say, rather than I do regulatory reporting governance, I say, I'm a bit like the person who looks after everything, and when something goes wrong, people need to come and speak to me. If I'm speaking to 15, 16-year-olds, then I actually go into the depth of what I do. Think about what you would want to hear at that age. So, again, just adapt what you're saying. Try and be mindful of the audience that is listening to it, and try and give them the information based off that. And keep it simple. I think sometimes you can overcomplicate things, or you want to make sure people understand your role. It's not about that. Keep it simple, keep it direct, and make it relatable. And more than anything, be honest. Just be honest about what you do, be honest about your role. And if you can give career paths for the older kids, that's always really good.
Thank you so much, Kit. That's so helpful. We also spoke to Daniel. So Daniel works for the West Midlands Ambulance Service as a student paramedic. And Daniel has been signed up to Inspiring the Future since January 2019 and has supported over 10 activities, both in school and virtually. He couldn't be here today as it's a very busy time for the NHS, but he has provided some fantastic tips that I'd like to share with you. So his first tip is prepare ahead of yourself. Look at key areas that will interest children and plan your session and time wisely. This makes a big difference. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. He said, use your own experience and stories and bring them to life. This will brighten younger people's minds and will keep them engaged throughout the session. He also said, look at other activities that you might not thought about doing. So never did I think a group presentation in front of 20+ kids would be for me, but exploring other activities will enhance your skills. And finally, he says, just enjoy it. You'll learn a lot. You'll meet so many people and get great satisfaction along the way. Lastly, I would like to share with you some of our teacher insights. So we asked teachers that we've been working with recently, what makes impactful volunteer? And this is what they've said. They said, someone who is positive, they didn't speak regretfully about what they have been through. They can relate to the students and where they are in life. They understand it's hard to be 16. They ask lots of questions to the students and care about who they are. They share messages of resilience, such as keep going and there's no such thing as failure. And lastly, they follow up post activities. So they have takeaway actions for themselves and they are keen to communicate with the teachers to build on the work that they've done in the session. So that is all of our tips for today. Thank you so much for listening and I hope that it was helpful. While I do talk more about the follow-up, we are just going to launch a poll asking the same question we did at the start to track the helpfulness of this webinar. So we're going to ask, how confident do you feel to volunteer with Inspiring the Future following this webinar? I will give a couple of seconds for you to pop in your answers. We will have time for questions shortly, so if you'd like to stay on, if you have questions, please do. Alternatively, you can contact us anytime, and those details are in the slides, so we'll show those once we've launched the poll. We have recorded the session and we will be sending it around the link to the video early next week alongside a survey feedback form. So if you have 4 minutes to fill this out, we'd be grateful to hear how we did. We do listen to your feedback and we will put it into practice for our next webinar. So let's see the results and see what we have here. Oh, that's really good. So we've got no, not at all, and no, not so, and we have a lot more very confident. Which is fantastic. That shows me that you found it helpful, so that's great. Now let's go to questions. So if anyone has any questions for us, do put it into chat and Simon will read out and we'll endeavour to answer them.
Lovely. There's a couple of quick ones I can answer here that came in slightly earlier. We've got one here about responding to messages from the teacher, whether you need to log on. So when it gets to the chat phase and a teacher writes a message to you, you will get an email sent to you, which will have the detail of that message. And you have two options. One is you can reply to that email. You have to make sure you click reply rather than sending the person an email. And then that will go directly back into the chat on the platform. Your second option is you can log into the platform to see it if you want. We would always recommend it's good to log into the platform. You get to see the resources, you get to see new stuff that goes in, maybe there's more opportunities, but you do receive a notification to your email.
Simon, can I just ask that you hide the poll because I can't see your face?
Oh, apologies.
There we go.
There we go. So we had a second option about the search radius being 30 miles. So this is the virtual volunteering is something relatively new to us. So what it does is when you tick the box virtual events in the search for events, what it will do is it will ignore all your geography in the radius. So it basically bypasses that and searches across every event that's available. So with that ticked, you don't have to worry about whatever your radius is, it will just look everywhere. You have a little look for questions. Right. Could a profile template be generated which individuals could populate, and could these be shared with other volunteers during an event?
I don't know what, sorry, can you read that again, Sam? Because I'm not 100% sure what they mean by that.
So could a profile template be generated with individuals, which individuals could populate, and these could be shared with other volunteers during an event? So I know we've got some of our resources. There is information and hints about how to fill out a good profile, isn't there, that would be useful for people?
Yeah, so we do have a resource, and we're looking at producing some videos in the kind of new year, and definitely that is one of them, is like tips and tricks on how to kind of get a better profile, and showing you the teacher side and how it works, so you can see what information is best. I mean, if you have any questions or concerns about kind of what you want to put in your profile, do feel free to email us, and we'll be happy to kind of support. Within that document, there is a template of a volunteer profile as a suggestion, but I don't get the second part of like populating it with other volunteers. So whoever asked that question, if you want to kind of drop us an email or have a chat after, I'm happy to kind of do so. But sorry, I don't understand that part.
Okay, we've got a couple of others. So one here, thank you for the webinar. And they're saying, I don't have university or college background. Does this matter?
Absolutely not. We want people from as many diverse career paths as possible, and we have lots of volunteers who, you know, didn't finish their GCSEs or O levels and are kind of doing great things in their career. And there's some people that have done apprenticeships. For us, it's the more diverse paths possible. University isn't for everybody, and I think that, you know, young people need to know that as well, as much as they would if someone went to university and loved it. I think it's just hearing as many different stories as possible, so please don't worry about that.
Okay, one other, I'm due to take early retirement next year. Will this mean I can still volunteer or not?
Absolutely, we have a ton of volunteers who've retired, and you've got a great career journey that you can talk about, and that will still be really, really useful for our young people. So that's not a problem at all. We welcome wherever you are on your career journey to kind of come and join and share your story.
Okay, and I think there are a few other questions, and what we will do, because we appreciate this is a half hour, I've got a big bunch of questions in front of me because we've had quite a lot of attendees today, so we'll be able to go through those and either answer some of them individually after, if there's any queries or problems with the platform, which we know sometimes happens.
That's fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. We are always on hand to support you on your journey. So if you ever need to contact us, you can do that by inquiries. And I will also be sending a follow-up email to everybody, like I mentioned, so that will give you access to my email address. So if you ever need support on your journey, we are here. We want you to have the best experience with us possible. So don't feel scared to kind of ask us anything. I hope you found today helpful. We will be doing more webinars in the new year, and which we hope to see you there. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.